ACES.
See the thing. 7.
Good?
No,
No.
we're not.
What do you need? My body is
Hang on.
cool thing about it. It's a converter. But today the key it's getting old. The keyboard is completely dead, or if I ran the battery down. Now and it's 3 or 4 years old. Oh, come on. Yeah, no. Okay, my clerk tells me it's time, so I will go with that. I listen at home when I'm told it's time to. This is a mayor's agenda, City of Hannibal official council agenda, Tuesday, January 4th, 2022, council chamber 7 p.m. And ask clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember McCoy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson.
Here.
Councilmember Franke. Mayor Hark.
Here.
Councilmembers Bowen.
Here.
Welch.
Here.
And Veach.
Here. There being quorum, I call this meeting to order. Mayor Pro Tem Dobson, will you do the invocation, please? Sure.
Heavenly Father, in our hearts we plan our course, but we pray that you establish our steps. I pray that we seek you for advice. Let us not make decisions based upon what we know, but let us act based upon your wisdom. Please guide us, Lord. We place this meeting in your hands. We place our hearts and our minds in your hands so that you may direct us. Amen.
Councilman Boyd, would you do the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, at this time, I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda as it is posted this Tuesday, January 4th, 2022.
So move. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Now request for motion to approve the minutes of the regularly scheduled council meeting of December 21st, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motions and seconds everywhere. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried. Now need a motion to approve the payroll claims for the second half of December of 2021.
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried. First item here on the agenda for speaking will be Faye Dant from Jim's Journey. Very first.
At any rate, I am. I'm Faye Dant. Jim's, do I come here? Did I do this right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right. At any rate, I'm with Jim's Journey. We've been at it for 8 years now, and I want to thank the city every time I come here for allowing us to be in that property and for helping us to maintain that and for supporting us all these years. Today, I'm representing Jim's Journey as well as the Juneteenth Committee. I don't know that many of you know this, but will be 2022. We will be celebrating the 25th anniversary. Don't y'all be making me sick, because y'all, I'm an old lady. I can't take it. At any rate, I will be celebrating the 25th anniversary of Juneteenth celebrations here in Hannibal. And that's quite an accomplishment. I obviously wasn't here at that point in time when it started, but I've been involved in the past 8 or 9 years since I've been back. The Juneteenth Committee and Jim's Journey is working very hard to keep the community engaged in Black history as well as other events throughout the city. At any rate, I'm here today to talk about Black History Month, the month of February, the 1st through the 28th. We are we're collaborating with a number of people to make this a great month and to make this an event to celebrate and to acknowledge not only the accomplishments and the achievements of African Americans, but also the struggles, the hurdles. The real point is, though, that Black history is American history, and we want that to stay top of mind for everybody. If you read the attachment that I sent over, you kind of get a sense from my experience in Hannibal and my thoughts on Black history, African American history. We've been pretty busy collaborating and building and developing collaborations to make February 2022, a good month of celebrations. We are not certain if we're going to be able to do everything we had hoped to do, but in lieu of that, I'm kind of preparing some other things. What we've done is, the first thing we've done is collaborated with our park district, Parks and Recreation. They're going to help us to host an event at the Armory on February 19th. It's going to be kind of an all-day event. It's going to be a family affair, and there's going to be some educational things involved, as well as some cultural things, some food, and just a good, fun family event. And that, again, is planned for the Armory, February 19th, 3 to 10 p.m. We have it that late because the thought is that people will be coming in and out, and by 8 o'clock the kids will go home, and then we'll have the music and have kind of a street dance within the facility. That's the thinking. That's not the only collaborative relationship we had, though, for this. I'm going to give you kind of a list and start with the Hannibal Arts Council. We usually do, for the past 4 years, we've done a visual arts display at the Hannibal Arts Council where I curate it, and we have Black artists from all over the state that come in and display some of their things. They are going to be closed in February of 2022, but they have agreed to offer us a donation and, to help us still with this project and with the celebration itself. We are collaborating with the Alliance. It's an art gallery down on Main Street. They're going to be hosting. I'm going to be curating a visual arts exhibit there. They're going to be decorating, I don't want to use that word, but their windows are going to be all displayed in African American history, and we're going to try to do that throughout, particularly the downtown area. And we're doing that also with the help of the Hannibal High School History Club. They've agreed to design posters and to knock on doors and knock on windows and encourage people to display the poster representing African American History Month. It won't necessarily say a lot, except that it may even say something like African American history is American history. Let's all celebrate. But at any rate, that's another effort that we're proposing and that we're going forward with, and that we've been able to work with this particular group on. We're also working with the Independence Sign Company. They're going to do some discounted banners for us that are going to be available to display throughout the community. General Mills, they've invited us to participate in their hometown grants program yet again this year, and they are talking with senior management about putting a banner up on 61. where you usually see Veterans Day or Merry Christmas or whatever. This February, we're hoping that it'll say something like, Black History Month. Again, the Parks and Rec people are helping us with that. I'm working with Robinson and TriStar to put up digital banners. We are going to we have some funding from various organizations and various individuals to help us finance that, and we're going to try to make that happen. Now, our theme is our history, African, Black, American, and that means that, that's kind of the route we've taken or been taken on. I'm appealing to the city this evening to ask you to get involved. I'm not sure if it'll take a committee that I'll work with or what it'll take, but I'm asking you to be more involved, more engaged this year than you've been before. I'm asking you to place banners on your grounds and maybe on the grounds of some of the other city offices. I'm asking you to be sure to post something on the website and just acknowledge it as a way to engage the community in this event and in this celebration, and maybe move us towards healing. We know that this year has been pretty divisive. I mean, we know it's been a tough 5 years, and I'm asking you to help move us in a healing kind of process, and do what you can and reach out to me, partner with me. I don't want folks, try to do it on their own by themselves. I'd like to partner with you to make this happen and to make it happen and do it right. All right, thank you.
All right.
Hey, your phone. Is that yours? Oh, sorry.
Better than when I get.
I'm done.
Me too, the screen's not tracked. Okay, next item on the agenda, Mike Murphy, Building Inspector.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So, as the ordinance that pertains to the non-owner occupied properties, the rental properties, the building inspector is required to do a yearly review of the fee schedule. And if no adjustments have been made within 5 years, they're supposed to, with the CPI, we're supposed to make changes at least every 5 years if nothing else has changed. So we did review the fee schedule last March, I believe, and we did make adjustments that went into effect July. And I've got those, I can email you guys those, but we did raise the rates in July, so it hasn't been quite a year on that. So that's the fee schedule, we did raise that. As far as the inspections for the rental properties, due to COVID, we kind of suspended those. And then in February, with Joey leaving, I was by myself, so didn't really, we weren't doing any inspections on the rental properties. In June, I believe it was, the fire department kind of picked up a few of the inspections to try and get them going. And then really, they really picked up when we hired Chad, just hired Chad Collier. And he has since, so basically from pretty much from June to date, we have done 225 inspections. Like I say, sporadically, a lot of those fire department. But since Chad has come on, which he started in November 1st, learning the system and kind of learning the new OpenGov program, really didn't get started till mid-November doing inspections. But just since mid-November till now, he's done like 121 of those inspections. So really look for things to start picking up. The Board of Public Works they've kind of reached out to them, and they've helped us out a lot on inspections. A lot of times we didn't even know if a place was a rental. Well, now if they go to, anybody goes to get utilities put in their name, they're requiring an occupancy permit before they will turn the utilities on. So that's helped a ton. So that's kind of where we're at on all that stuff.
If I may jump in for just 1 second, I just want to clarify, if at any time, even during COVID or when it was just you, if someone needed a rental inspection in order to get utilities on, you would.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if it was an emergency.
You did not turn anyone down for.
No, we were.
Just wasn't a proactive push
Right.
because,
Right, yeah.
and that was probably a safe approach to take. So essentially, since you're back to, I wouldn't say a full staff, but at least it's
I'd
a
say
100%
Chad-
improvement.
Yeah, he's done.
60 days, you've got 121 additional inspections.
Yeah. So he's really done a good job.
I think requiring those occupancy permits before turn on the utilities is great.
That's, like I say, because a lot of times, we didn't even know, we were just kind of hunting and pecking to find rental property in town, so.
And
A
we
lot of
have
it was
had
the
those
honors.
conversations.
A lot of it was the honor system for someone actually coming
Right,
forward to have a rental
exactly.
property, and now
Just kind
there's
of
a
stumble
safety
onto
net
it.
from the board.
So it's working out. Working out pretty good. Any questions? Like I say, if y'all want copies of this or anything, I can email you.
Thank you very
guys.
much. Okay, council, at this time we have before us bill number 21-036. I need a motion to have the clerk give this bill a second and final reading and call the roll for adoption.
So move.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Sorry?
Yeah, I have some
Okay.
discussion to add. While this is definitely about tent camping in our parks to some degree, it's mostly about homeless folks. Passing this ordinance will create mechanisms to fine and even imprison people who seek shelter in our parks. This will force them to go elsewhere, likely into our neighborhoods. This is a brand new problem. What is the virtue of saddling these homeless people with debt they can't pay, thereby making it even harder for them to afford housing? It's been suggested that since I care about this, I should create a
Turn your
Could you
mic
put your
towards you.
microphone toward you so you pick that up,
It
please?
wasn't picking you up good.
idea or solution. Thank you. That suggestion is not productive because we have a full-time staff who are paid to creatively solve problems just like this. Regardless, my idea is this: vote no. Don't create a new problem without first seeking a solution. I hope that we choose to act with compassion. I hope that this ordinance gets voted down and that city staff reaches out to pertinent stakeholders to brainstorm, learn, work together. That's all I got.
Mayor?
Other discussion? Yes.
Yeah,
Mayor Pro Tem.
going back to probably when I was 16, 17 years old, this rule's been on the book that long. The parks close at 10 o'clock. And I don't know, for those of you that remember the old power plant, there was a siren on that power plant that sounded at 10 o'clock. I happened to be in Riverview Park when that sounded and exited the park because I knew it was 10 o'clock. I was met by Bob Gregory, and I don't know if you remember Bob Gregory, but he was a park cop, and I was ticketed for being in the park after hours. So Bob didn't even have a watch. If I remember the judge right, his name was Sam Friedman, and when I went before him to plead my case, I was in the park after 10 o'clock, curfew whistle went off and I exited the park. But my point was the guy didn't even have a watch, still paid the fine, don't remember what it was, but I asked the judge if they could buy, Bob a watch, so he'd know what time it was. But my point is that you can't be in the park after 10 o'clock anyway. What difference does it make if you prohibit camping? The whole point is, somebody that's going to camp, it's overnight, 10 o'clock, you got to be out of the park anyway, or you'll be paying a fine like I did.
Any other discussions?
Mayor,
Yes.
a couple of points, and I have no dog in this fight. I draft an ordinance because I was requested to draft an ordinance. However, a couple of points. Number one, this ordinance does not ban camping in the park. It gives the park director the ability to designate the areas where camping will be allowed. There are areas where camping would absolutely be inappropriate. There are other areas in our parks where camping would probably be appropriate. In regards to the issue of homelessness, most homeless people are homeless either because of mental illness problem or drug addiction problem. We are lucky enough in this city to have access to 3 community mental health centers. We have Referred, we have Comprehensive, we have Mark Twain Behavioral. All 3 of those entities have access to funds which will allow them to do housing assistance. One of those entities also has an ERE program, which is a program which is used to, if someone ends up in the emergency room, it's a program which will help people not get directed back to the emergency room, help them find other things. All 3 entities also have access to COVID funds, and all 3 of them have been helping people with housing assistance to locate funds. I have spoken to one of those entities. I did speak to a representative of Mark Twain, and they indicated they would be very, very happy to help people and to try to help people locate housing and to deal with other issues. I've also spoken with Judge Bastian about the possibility of the idea that if someone should receive a ticket for camping in an inappropriate location, that they would have some options such as applying for assistance or applying for at least an evaluation to see if there is something that any of these 3 entities should do. That's not something that's locked in, it's not something that's formal, but it is something that we're looking at. So again, I have no dog in this fight regarding whether you do this or not, but I did want to make sure the council was aware both of what the ordinance does and does not do, and also what programs are available to people who are homeless inside the city limits of Hannibal.
Well, then I guess I'll go ahead and throw 2 bits in. I was encouraged less than a week ago to receive a message from an individual who runs the New Embassy Ministry at 600 North Street. If anybody remembers, that's Pettibone School. That's where I write. And this was actually, December 31st, 6 p.m. New Embassy Ministry, Homeless Outreach, Emergency Shelter. My years in law enforcement, I've found sometimes those who have found themselves homeless have not had the best experience with, let's face it, law enforcement. They haven't had the best experience with some of the social service programs that are out there. They felt either downtrodden or they felt that they have been basically institutionalized and being plucked out and put into a place. This is a Christian environment where a person can go and there's no judgment, just support. So there are some programs out here. I don't think that we fully have the advertisement that maybe is necessary. And like I say, I just found out about this myself December 31st. Boom, right in my face. So, maybe that's a story that needs to be told as well, that the resources are out there. For the folks in law enforcement, I know that job's tough because oftentimes encounter individuals in the homeless. You're not always welcome. And your words aren't welcome. But I know that you offer resources. I know that used to be people come in the front lobby and say, hey, I need a place. I don't know if that's true anymore, but Chief, if I'm off the chart on this or I'm wrong, correct me. I'm not all-knowing. Sir.
If he's going to speak.
Can you come up here, please?
You weren't using your loud voice.
No, it wouldn't pick it up anyway.
Too late for that. We have been in contact with the New Embassy Ministry. One of my lieutenants and I think one of my sergeants contacted them today just to confirm a few things. They have offered their services, so we've been working with them. And we also asked them that due to the inclement weather, is there any way in the future maybe we could even increase the hours because it's just as cold during the day, possibly at night as well. But we also have a long-running relationship with the Salvation Army out of Quincy because they actually have an actual shelter up there. And often it is overcrowded or full, but they have been able to find other shelters that we can utilize. And we just actually did that just a few days ago for some people that we were encountering. I'm glad you brought that up. The majority of the homeless that we deal with, it is not an issue of homelessness. Often they will refuse shelter. It is an issue of mental illness combined with substance abuse, and it's a very difficult thing in that if we chase our tail and go after the homeless, we'll miss the mark. We've got to find an effective way to deal with the mental illness and the drug addiction, pretty much what James just spoke about. And we are in contact with these agencies, and we work closely with these mental health agencies, and we are also aware of this program, and that would, if it was to pass, we would help facilitate that information onto those people as well. So, okay.
Thank you.
And finding them makes none of those situations better.
I'm sorry.
I said finding them makes none of those situations better.
Typically, though, I think you'll misunderstand how we would approach that. We deal with people that suffer from mental illness and drug addiction that we find out in less than habitable situations. And it's typically not an arrest that's made. Often, in a situation like a park, we'll first try to warn them to try to facilitate that way, and also to see if they're receptive to mental health treatment and other services. We will often call out these mental health services to make contact with them. But ultimately, they have civil rights too, and if they want to refuse those services, neither you nor I can force them to seek shelter. But at the same time, I don't think anybody here would feel like this pavilion over here is adequate shelter. If we found a dog that was in that situation, we would have to humanely try to find appropriate shelter for that. But for a human being, we're saying that that's appropriate shelter. I don't think any of us feels like that's an appropriate shelter. So I think we're kind of confusing the issues here is we need to deal with the mental illness issues that we're seeing and the substance abuse. And that's why it's so important, like James said, to get the mental health services involved in the situation and really deal with the core issues. Thank you.
Last meeting, I touched on the fact that our parks are closed at 10 o'clock. And that's actually one of the reasons that I was saying, yeah, it just makes sense to shut them down and ticket it after 10 o'clock. But however, taking it to the community and to the people, when asked about this, they do feel like it is us completely policing the homeless. And everyone I've talked to has been against doing that. Every single person. So I can't turn a blind eye to what the community wants. Like, I talk to people, I get down on their level, and I relate to them. I'm like, okay, what would you like to see happen? They say, even though it's just a pavilion with just a roof over the top, no walls or anything like that, they say it is better to have a roof over your head than to be sleeping out in the elements. I'm not going to support this one, but I would like to see actual camping in our park system without the fining and the policing of it. I realize that I'm basically saying the exact same thing. I'd like to see the camping without the fining, although there is probably already a fine put in place. But every single person I've talked to in the community has told me that they don't want to see this pass.
Andy, you'll have to come up here, please.
I know.
Okay. What am I supposed to do when the public calls every single day to complain about this issue? What am I supposed to tell them? What am I supposed to tell them when a homeless person or an individual is laying in the bathroom in the middle of the daytime, in the middle of the summer, and the public is no longer allowed to use the facilities? Or they lay across the trails so that people have to walk around them. Or they rub feces all over the walls and the public calls and screams at me. I don't know what else to do. So if this ordinance doesn't pass, I have no other way but to direct them towards you guys because we're helpless. You guys are making our jobs impossible. I don't know what to do. So, and our staff doesn't want to do. When oftentimes these are not people who are seeking help. They're antagonistic. They come after our employees. They verbally threaten them. We're dealing with And I'm not saying it's all. I said when I talked to the park board, this is not all homeless, just like it's not all people. A lot of the homeless that we deal with, very cordial. We work together. We try to get them help. But a sect of these people, it's a serious problem. We've dealt with convicted felons. We had a situation a few years ago where we had someone camping in the park. They often came into City Hall. They peered in the windows. We actually even had a city councilman give them money. A short time later, that person was arrested in St. Louis for breaking into a 24-hour fitness and sexually assaulting a woman. I mean, these are the things that the staff have to deal with without any help. And so that is all I'm asking. It's up to the council on what they want to do, and I've said that clearly. But I need some guidance then forth when the public calls. So anything you guys could do to help would be great. So.
Mayor, someone is indigent. The laws of Missouri do not allow that person to be charged a fine. Person shows that they are indigent, they will not pay a fine.
Right.
It does allow them to be brought in, have a discussion with the judge, so that the judge can have a discussion with them about what is going on. I want to encourage you to seek help. I want you to seek help from these agencies. These are the things that we provide to you. Many times these people are not going to listen. To Andy's point, they're not going to listen to staff, but if they are there with the judge, they will listen to the judge. And no one's going to be paying a fine, and certainly no one's going to jail for camping in the. That's not how our ordinances work. I'm not saying that that's not something that arguably could be a possibility, but as a general rule, there are very, very, very few things that ever result in jail time in our ordinances. And the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is if you have done repeated stealing and it has not been enough to be a felony. Every once in a great rare while, one of those persons might spend a day in jail, try to get their attention. However, nobody's going to jail. Nobody that's indigent is going to be paying a fine, but to Andy's point, it does give some ability for the staff to have an answer to the public who want to use those facilities and are being kept from using those facilities. I understand that you don't want to be insensitive to the homeless, and I don't think you should. And I don't think that's the intent with this ordinance. And as I said several times, this ordinance does not ban camping park system. It allows the parks director to direct places which are appropriate. So in other words, you can't camp out overnight in the bathroom laying on the floor, or you couldn't camp out in the pavilion preventing people from using it for programs, et cetera, but you could be directed to an area where it would be. However, as Andy said, I drew this up for staff at staff request, but ultimately it is the council's decision.
Any other discussion? So there's a motion and a second. Make the call. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Aye.
For a second reading. Councilmember McCoy,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Franke,
No.
Mayor Hark,
Yes.
Councilmember Bowen,
No.
Councilmember Welch,
No.
and Councilmember Veach.
Yes.
Passed to read. Bill number 21-036, an ordinance of the City of Hannibal amending Chapter 20, Parks and Recreation, Article 2, Park Rules of the Ordinances of the City of Hannibal by adding a new section 20-29, Camping, second and final reading. Councilmember McCoy,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Franke,
No.
Mayor Hark,
Yes.
Councilmembers Bowen,
No.
Welch,
No.
and Veach.
Yes.
4-3.
Yes.
Okay. 4-3, I declare Bill number 21-036 duly approved and adopted on this day. Wow. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
So second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you for coming this evening.